Hi everyone, and welcome back to another interview. This time it's with Spielworks co-founder Adrian. And Spielworks is the company behind the well-known and one of my favorite crypto wallets, Wombat, which is available for iOS, Android, and desktop. And Wombat also stores not only your favorite coins and tokens, but of course APPICS tokens are included. Now, Spielworks just yesterday launched their public beta for a new platform called Womplay, which lets you earn tokens and amazing things for playing your favorite games. So definitely check it out. And Spielworks is also behind Chain Clash, which is a collectible and battle game. And so all of these products of Spielworks are here to disrupt the world of games, and they're based on the EOS mainnet. And so I'm really excited now to chat with the co-founder to learn more about it. So let's dive straight in, and thank you, Adrian, so much for being with us today. Really excited. So I just did a very brief introduction, but maybe you can give us some background on who you are, how you got into the world of games and blockchain.
Sure. Thanks a lot for having me, first of all. And so basically I've been a gamer forever. Like most people in my age, or most people who I know in my age, started playing games on like super old computers, 286, NES, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, the entire Nintendo stack basically, and kept on playing my entire life basically. I also started playing a lot of online poker in basically during the online poker hype back in the early 2000s, which then later on brought me to the blockchain space basically, because the online poker space caught up with Bitcoin very early on, right? So around end of 2010, early 2011, I saw the first mentions of Bitcoin in online poker forums and stuff. And this was my first touching point with Bitcoin, although I didn't really invest into it back then because it was all very shaky and no transactional security and stuff. So you had to pay people, and then you didn't know whether you'd ever get your Bitcoin. So first time I actually bought Bitcoin was early 2013, and ever since I kind of followed the space and really loved it. So I loved the idea of having digital money that's actually native to the internet and that's governed by basically itself or by the people owning it, right? And then end of 2016, we actually started. I used to run a software development company, and we started offering services for like blockchain development services for all kinds of companies. And that brought us into the entire ICO space and like the entire blockchain space. We were already based in Berlin back then, and early 2018, we then founded Chainwise, which we founded as a consulting company, and which we renamed it to Spielworks. We started building Wombat early 2019 when we realized that the EOS space desperately needs easier on-ramps. It was so difficult to create a new blockchain account on the EOS mainnet, right? It was expensive, it was slow. You had to buy EOS first, then you had to stake resources, you had to buy RAMs, all this stuff. And we wanted to make it as simple as possible to create your account on EOS for free, right? This is how we launched Wombat early in June 2019. So it's been out there more than a year. And we're one of the biggest wallets now. I think because it's so easy to use, we're creating about 35 to 40% of all new EOS accounts nowadays.
Wow. Okay. That's very early on, and I think you evolve with that space. So it's be interesting. You see those first protocols, and then things that change over time, and you can really be a part of that. And so you've combined your passion then there for both. So sort of similar to what our team did as well.
Yeah, definitely.
That's amazing. Now you are based in Berlin. The company was founded in Berlin, and I'm not sure if you know this, but myself and a large part of our team are originally from Hamburg, Germany. But when it was time to make the decision of where to incorporate with APPICS, we went with Switzerland, with Zug, because at the time we felt that it was sort of the hub in Europe. It was quite ahead and more accepting. So I'm curious to know why you chose to incorporate in Berlin, what the regulations are, and what the progression has been like in terms of Germany positioning itself in the blockchain and crypto space.
For us, being in Berlin we already were in Berlin, so we didn't go to Berlin to incorporate here, but all of us basically were in Berlin already, which is probably the reason why we even founded the company, right? We probably wouldn't have founded it if we hadn't had so much exposure to the space already. So in Berlin, back in 2017, for instance, you could go to 10 meetups a week, meet all kinds of people, like the Ethereum space is really big in Berlin, right? So this is how I met a ton of people from the Ethereum space, all kinds of founders, projects in their very early stages. They were like celebrity, like nowadays you would call them celebrities. They would just come to meetups with like 20, 30 blockchain people in Berlin, right? So these were my first touching points with like the real community. And we saw back then that we do have something to offer, and this is why we founded the company, obviously in Berlin, because it was like we were there already, and it was a good strategic position, right? Nowadays, obviously, if you can choose where you want to go, Berlin is still a good place, right? And I think that Germany is playing a very good role in terms of regulating and making it clear, like what the rules are for certain things. So there's a lot of things that, aren't easy in Germany, but if you do them, then you know that you're going to be safe in terms of like your regulatory pressure also abroad, because Germany is actually pretty advanced in terms of giving the blockchain space real rules.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. That Germany has just has always been one of those countries that takes after others. Maybe not the first mover, but then slowly after is watching and then adapting to where the space heads. And so, especially for where you're at with the company, then it made sense since all of your people are located there. Didn't plan on moving anywhere to make that happen, but. That's sometimes how things come together, and it happens organically, naturally, and then you watch as the space evolves. And later on, if you say it might be great to have a headquarters somewhere else, you can always choose to then move that. So yeah, it's good to know. Now, how did you go about that whole funding topic? Because I know it was a huge thing, especially for projects that were new in the space. There was this whole ICO wave, and now we're talking about, IEOs and STOs. So what was your strategy?
We obviously were quite acquainted with the ICO space throughout 2017 and 2018, and also had quite a bunch of clients from that space. We did actually never thought about running our own ICO back then. That was never a real topic. But we didn't need funding in that respect back in 2018. And then later on, we wanted to get, because nowadays we're basically a startup, right? A usual tech startup. So we have usual tech startup funding. Just so happens that, we do have a strategic investor, which is the FinLab ESVC. So
yeah, congrats
obviously,
on that. Congrats to that. I saw that.
Thank you. It obviously made sense for us to talk to them because, being an EOS wallet and building services on top of the EOS mainnet will make sense. Or an investment in us will make sense for people who have a strategic view on that. So obviously, EOSVC was one of the first ones that we spoke to, and we made it happen. So very thankful to FinLab, ESVC, and obviously Volksbank Mittweida, who have been very supportive and are sticking with us, and great people.
Yeah, great. And talking about EOS, so right now, maybe you've seen recently we announced that APPICS, we are migrating with Telos, transitioning to the EOS ecosystem. So. And if you've been following APPICS for some time, our token is listed on Wombat. So what is your take on that decision that we made? And maybe what kind of benefits do you see also working with Telos, since Telos is a partner for you as well?
For us, and that's despite being funded by FinLab EOSVC, we don't have to be EOS exclusive or EOS mainnet exclusive, right? And obviously, it wouldn't make sense for us or for any wallet to be that, or for any kind of service, or especially wallet. So for us, we basically always wanted to go where the adoption is, right? Because we think that we're solving a problem, meaning if you want to use blockchain, specifically EOSIO-based blockchains, the onboarding is generally kind of difficult because you have to create this account, you have to have these resources, right? And we're solving this problem. We're making that super easy. And for us, it then we can go anywhere where it makes sense for us, right? Where the adoption is, where the apps are, where the users go and need this kind of service, right? And with Telos, that made a ton of sense. I mean, ever since November last year, when the EOS mainnet started to be congested, a lot of EOS-based apps started moving onto other EOSIO-based chains, right? One of the main reasons being that resources were very, very expensive. And we're obviously talking to all kinds of EOSIO-based blockchains with regards to whether we would want to integrate. They're reaching out to us, we're reaching out to them. We're basically in contact with all of them, and we're always making moves into these spaces whenever it makes sense. So if we see great applications that are moving on to or announcing integration with one of these blockchains, we would be happy to integrate with them. As long as we see how we can benefit, like how our users can benefit from that, or how we can bring value, the values that we have, especially in Wombat Wallet, that it's very easy to onboard and very easy to use a blockchain. If we can bring that to new blockchain, then or a new kind of space, then we obviously do that. So we're very happy that like with you moving to Telos, that's all fine because we're already integrated with Telos, and I think that they're doing a great job in general. Douglas, Justin, and whoever we've spoken to at Telos, they've all been really great and reacting to developments really quickly, and it's been great working with them. So congrats, or whatever you say, right?
Yeah, thank you. No, and I love that because I think we also have that same philosophy in a way where we just want to do what's best for our users, right? It's not really about competitiveness of, like we don't want to work with them or this team, but it's just more about, what are the benefits and what in terms of user experience are we offering? And the same, and I'm a user of Wombat and of course also a very active APPICS user. And I think this is something that we have in common. Also, you can see this throughout our UI, our brand and design, we've been focusing on this a lot. My team and I, we have a very strong focus on just user experience, branding, design, because I've seen so many great tech projects, startups, but they struggle to just package and market it to reach a large audience. And so I guess my question also is in regards to that would be, what's been your strategy, or advice to other blockchains when it comes to creating a brand and a lasting design philosophy? Because again, the end goal would be the mainstream, to reach the mainstream and having that approach similar to what we're doing at APPICS as well.
I would say that, technology doesn't, people don't use technology just for the sake of using technology. Obviously there's always a few people who do that, right? And there's there are the fans of blockchain and of basically any technology who use it despite that being a pain in the ass, right? But if you want to go to a broader audience or to the masses, you have to build products that actually work for them and that add value as they are, as the product, not as a technology, but as a product. And that's a huge difference, right? And so they need to be usable, they need to be marketed, that they need to be present, and they need to help the people achieve something that they couldn't achieve without it, right? And this is the most important thing. If you want to build a product that's appealing to the mass market, build a product that is appealing for the mass market, right? So I think that that's been a huge shortcoming of the blockchain space in general. Here in Berlin, we have a lot of startups or companies being focused on developing technology. So we don't have all that many companies who are focusing on the mass market, and that's fine. It's just a different kind of scope, right? If you want to build core technology, then obviously your clients are not end users. Your clients are other companies building on top, and so on. And we're, I would say, one of the few in relative terms, obviously, one of the few startups actually focusing relentlessly on end consumers. And we're not even there yet, right? There's still so many things that we can improve, and we're constantly working on that every day. We're thinking about, okay, how can we make the experience of using Wombat or Chain Clash or Womplay better to the users who are coming up from the outside, who don't have an idea of what a token is, of what a blockchain is, of why you need RAM to transfer a token, why you need CPU to send a transaction, what a transaction is, why is that a transaction, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody knows that, right? And exactly. People don't want to know about this. When you're sending an email, you don't want to know that, like which protocols that uses and how long it will take to arrive and how many hubs are in between. And you don't want to know that, right? So you don't want to know who are your validators. At best, you want to know who your carrier is for sending WhatsApp, right? Yeah. But that's it, right?
100%. I think, you hit the nail right on the hammer. It's just kind of, and I always say, I make these different examples, like, if you don't think about electricity when you turn on the light switch in your home, like it's just technology should just be an experience. And that has been our entire focus with APPICS as well. And I think this is where we're really similar. And we have that approach of we just want to appeal to the mass market and get people on board that are real humans that don't have the crypto or blockchain background and don't need to, because it's just about the product and the platform and the experience and the community, of course, as well. And, that sort of also brings me to the whole community aspect of things. On APPICS, for example, our community, while we're still in beta, we haven't, gone to the main launch yet, but still we have this incredibly strong community. On APPICS, when you post, you can select a category. We also have a category gaming, and you create those sub communities, and then people establish their own passion. And we have an ambassador program where we have representatives around the world, and they passionately just spread the word about APPICS. And so community building has really become one of our strongest assets. And so I would like to know also with you having those different, like now Womplay, you have that's a different community, and you have Chain Clash, you have Wombat as a wallet. But what's your take on just building and then also, of course, sustaining a community and attracting the right users?
Oh, well, that's probably one of the trickier parts, right? So building a strong community has always been a big goal, right? And a huge value, but it's also never been easy, right? Mm-hmm. And even if you think that, oh, cool, Facebook just did it and it just worked and it's spread and it's got to be so easy. It's not, right? I think that in the blockchain space, blockchains obviously have an inherent community building aspect because they're supposed to connect, individuals or end nodes, right, or end users, or whatever you call them, and the tokens, the economies that we build on top of these, they're the same, right? They are also building communities. So with tokens in general, it's great how people start feeling for their community, for their product, for their protocol, or whatever this token represents, and how they're starting to act with these communities in favor of these communities and in favor of these projects, right? And this is something that we're only at the very beginning with. We don't have a token. We don't kind of have this community aspect, but we have like very loyal users. We have a huge base of users who are using Wombat to play Chain Clash and to use Womplay and play all kinds of games and use Wombat on an everyday basis. And these people, we are actually at the very beginning of giving them social features, like features where they could interact with other people from the community on a level that is only enabled by blockchain, right? And tokens are the best example for that. And there's a ton of things that we have in our heads that we would want to build and to give to our users so they could even interact more. Mm-hmm. It's just that obviously there's so many things so many opportunities and so many aspects that you would like to build into the products all at once that we have to go step by step, and we're by far not where we would like to be, both with kind of the usability of the product, but of the products, but also in terms of building communities, we're like light years apart. But I think slowly but steadily we're getting there.
Yes, I mean it's always a progress, it's always progress, and it's a never-ending sort of progression. You always want to expand your community and do more, and we've just been we're at the right time, connected with the right people to be able to have this really strong network. And now we're also we've built a few tools and ways to also sort of take the community from APPICS and spread it out, and give the benefits to other projects as well. So we might have a chat about this another time, but I think there's so much we can just discuss when it comes to just growing your user base community the right way and just attracting them without having to go out and market so much, because at the end of the day you want to just people to gravitate towards these amazing platforms and products and alternative systems. But yes, other than, of course, always growing and, doing more, are there any sort of difficulties that you've encountered just being a startup, and what are ways to overcome them maybe for new projects that are just starting out?
Well, there's so many ways to start.
Many, yes.
I mean, obviously, I think that the blockchain space is even worse in that respect than the usual startup space or tech startup space, in terms of the number of opportunities that you get, and the level of focus that you have to apply to, do one thing properly, right? And we obviously have that kind of problem already ourselves, because we just launched with Womplay, we just launched the third product, and then Wombat actually isn't just one product, it's 3 products, because it's an iOS app, it's an Android app, and it's a Chrome extension, right? So we have all these products that we need to take care of, and focus is, now I'm talking about focus, sure, right? But there's been so many opportunities along the way, and requests coming in, and really great people talking about great ideas, great products, great things, great protocols that we can't all serve, right? And the question is, so what is it that you actually do, right? We could, even if we were just to integrate with all the EOSIO-based blockchains, right? And it looks like it must be super easy, right? Because they're all EOSIO-based. So from a technical perspective, that shouldn't be a problem. And maybe it isn't, but from a product and from a usability and UX point of view, it might be, right? So we're being very cautious with the opportunities that we're getting. And I think that this is kind of critical to creating a successful product. We already have 250,000 users on Wombat, right? So we apparently have a product that people like and that people want to use. So I think that's great. But if you're starting out and you don't have that, so you need to know what kind of problem you're solving, and then focus on that until you reach a critical mass with that kind of problem, our solution for a problem, and then expand from there. Otherwise, you're going to get distracted with those loads of opportunities out there, right? That's one thing. And I guess another thing is that, one thing that's difficult, another thing that's difficult is basically just building on blockchains, because that's much harder than building without blockchains, right? And even though we're in the third iteration of the protocols, and also developing has become much easier than 8 years ago or 5 years ago or 2 years ago. It's steadily becoming easier, but that means that it's still difficult, right? Because if you can make a lot of improvement within a short period of time, that probably means that it's been super difficult 2 years ago, if it's so much easier now. So I think that generally it's building things on public blockchains is still much harder than not using them, which to a certain extent justifies the amount of money that goes into blockchain startups, right? Because there is a lot of research that needs to be done. There is a lot of failure that happens. You need to iterate more on stuff, because there's less experience that you might have had with similar technologies. So the learning curves are much steeper, and it just takes longer to build a product on top of a blockchain. And you simply have to acknowledge that. So don't make super short notice plans if you want to build great stuff that works and doesn't break, and money is lost on blockchains.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I would agree with that. Definitely sign those words. And yes, so now with everything that you said, you're working on so many amazing things, doing great things in the blockchain space, like always expanding. What is there right now? What is left for this year? What's the vision, the goals for this in the coming year, and maybe even the years to come?
We, as you said, as I said, we just launched Womplay.io publicly, right? So you can go to Womplay.io and you'll find a bunch of games that you can play, and you can earn EOS mainnet tokens. It's like EOS, right? It's not like our own token or anything that you can't exchange, or it's one of the most liquid tokens that you can get. So you can earn EOS by playing games. And so first thing obviously is expand the variety of games that we have. So that's going to be an ongoing mission. Obviously, we are working with some of the biggest publishers in Germany or in Europe. We're always looking to expand with other publishers with not only blockchain games. So we have Forge of Empires listed on Womplay already, one of the biggest European mobile games, I'd say. And we're always expanding that, right? So our goal is not only that you can earn by playing blockchain games. So obviously there's a whole bunch of Ethereum-based games or other blockchain games that we could expand that to, but we definitely want to give users the opportunity to earn crypto tokens, EOS, by playing all kinds of games, not just blockchain games. So that's one thing that's going to be an ongoing focus of ours. Another thing is that obviously we just started, so the product is still very small. That's why we call it public beta. So there's not much that you can do there yet. There's going to be a ton of features that we have planned, social features, building communities and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So more visibility, more challenges, all kinds of things that we have in the pipeline. So this is just the beginning of Womplay. For Wombat, we also have a ton of things planned. We have a huge list of possible integrations. The DeFi space has been expanding also to EOS. So we're looking into that, what we can do there to support our users to handle all the DeFi things, and how can you give them some guidance, what is good, what's not, what they might want to use, to make it easy for them to use these things, to make them understand how they can use it, what they can benefit from. So in that respect, obviously Wombat is still a wallet, right? And that's something that a lot of people are interested in. And it's definitely beyond just listing a token or listing a dApp or a DeFi dApp. There's got to be more. So we're currently exploring that space very heavily as well.
All right, very great. So many things. I'm very excited for our community to tap more into all that Spielworks is doing with Womplay, with Wombat, with Chain. What's it called? Chain. What's it again? Chain
Clash.
Chain Clash, exactly. So there's just a lot of things they can explore, and we will of course put all the links in the description for you to check it out, to stay updated, maybe reach out to them. And yes, I'm very excited for also our collaboration and talking more behind the scenes. And so, yeah, thank you so much for chatting with me. I wish you all the best for the future, a lot of success in the space. And yes, just continue to evolving and growing as you have been.
Thanks a lot, and good luck with your Telos migration.
Thank you so much. All right, have a good day. Bye.
Bye.